Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Slay to Success Talk Show. My name is Rochelle, Slay Queen Hemingway, CEO and founder of Slay to Success. And y'all, it is Sun Slay. I know it is football season. The weather is absolutely gorgeous. So if you come by and just swing by just a little bit, I just want to say thank you. I am here to enlighten us, to empower us even more as we continue to live this thing that we call life. All right. And I'm here to help leaders, change makers, influencers, entrepreneurs to rise from being hidden to highly visible. All right. And I do that in a number of different ways. And being here on the show, hosting this show is just yet one of those. Now, as we are here, okay, we are starting from the word slay. Slay is a lot, but I'm just going to break it down for those that have just came into the world of Slay Nation, because that's where you're at right now. Slay means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, and to dream big and work hard until you own it. It is also an acronym that stands for Universal Life and Leadership Philosophies that really resonate with me, and hopefully they resonate with you too. And that is stay ready to be ready, lead out loud, a sense of community, and knowing you are built to last. So as you come on in, all right, everybody knows what time it is when we come in here, right? We are sharing our name, letting us know where you're streaming in from, all right? And just, give a shout out because you can be anywhere else and there's a lot going on out here, okay? So first of all, the question is everybody good? Okay, so just let me know as you come in, how you feeling, what's going on in your world. And I'm just here to give us a little bit of inspiration, a little bit empowerment, just so that way we can get started in on our week. Now, the Slay to Success Talk Show, I usually have a guest, and the purpose of this show is to bring in men and women who are using the Slay philosophies to really make an impact in this world, and they're living life on their own terms. All right. Well, this week, y'all, you have me. Okay. And so when I don't have a guest lined up, then I come on and I still show up. All right. Because this is one of the ways that we can amplify our authority, which is the topic of today. Okay. We're going to be talking about insights. I'm going to share a little bit about the journey, if you will, on how to amplify your authority in a much different way from where you were at before. And if you're in a new season like I am, and y'all, it's been it's over 4 years now that I retired out of the military, out of the Air Force specifically. And so I had to learn about the authority in which I had while I was in uniform and how to convert and translate that into this new season. And so it's been with, some trials and errors, right? I've had to learn and relearn things over again, but I think I've got the gist of it. So I just want us to start out with, what authority am I talking about? Okay, like, what does authority mean? So, in my world, for which I am in, okay, I am a transformational personal brand strategist, a certified image consultant. I have a master's degree in strategic leadership, and I served for 30 years in the Air Force. And so, a lot of what I share with you is part of each one of those particular, and they're not titles, but things that I actually I'm operating in every single day. All right. And so when I talk about authority, I'm talking about having the power or control in a particular area. Okay. Like, what is it that you do so well, and that people come to you when they have questions, they need direction, and they need results? Okay. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about authority in this particular way. All right. So this is not about having, the power and control over people and things and having titles and positions. I'm talking about you having power or control over a particular area of expertise. I'm also talking about how, people come to you, all right? And when you have the authority, when people are coming to you for questions, for directions, and they are looking for results. Now, you also need to understand that your name carries weight and it becomes your earned place, if you will, that is on your expertise, on your integrity, and offers that influence that we're going to be speaking to. So, again, today's conversation is about how to amplify your authority, especially if you're in your new season. So anyone who is pivoting right now, and what I mean when I say pivot is either you're transitioning out of a long career, you're transitioning out of one career to another career, maybe you're transitioning into entrepreneurship, maybe you're going into the political landscape. All right, these are all different roles in which you need to express your authority. Okay. And we're doing it in such a way where we're bringing the right level of expertise, skills, and experience to the table, and people know what we're doing. And when we show up, we know who we are, we know what we're bringing to the table, and we're not just here to prove anything, we're actually here to move things. Okay, move things into action. So I've got quite a few notes here tonight because I did not want to get off track. And there's a lot of things that I do want to share with you tonight. So authority is actually earned. All right. So when you are talking through how to amplify your authority, I want you to think about some things as well. So think about all the work that you have done up to this point. Okay, I think about a lot of the things that I was able to navigate, all right, in a system that was not designed for me to succeed in the first place. All right. And it's not just about the grind or the hustle of it, it's actually the inner work. Like there's a lot that goes in for owning your authority. But then to actually amplify that authority and people trust you, they believe in what you're speaking to, and your presence actually confirms it. All right. These are the nuances, if you will, of amplifying your authority. And when you are doing it, you are standing firm. All right. You're not doing it out of convenience or popularity. You're actually from a place of integrity, and you don't fold when other people are folding. All right. So I just want to be clear on what I'm talking about when I talk about authority. And if you are here with me, just let me know that you're here. Put it into the comments. Let me give you a shout out. Again, you didn't have to be here, but you're here. Hey, Leslie, I see you on the Facebook side. I got my phone on. You know how Facebook is. So thank you, Madame, for being here with us this evening. So tonight, I just want to share some insights about how you can amplify your authority if you don't have title, position, or any of that other thing. All right. And you're looking for ways to really showcase what you do and how you do it. Now, I don't have all the answers. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that I have, the magic, blueprint, if you will, or the plan for you to do it. But I will tell you that in this journey that I've been on since 2021, and I started Slay to Success, which is a full-fledged business between speaking, presenting workshops, and taking in clients. The things that I saw and I heard as I was starting out, I said, well, many people are sharing this information, but many people aren't actually doing it. What if I actually did some of these things that they share with me? All right. So I know that these things that I share with you are going to help you stand out with confidence. Again, greater sense of confidence and understanding what you do and how you do it and then really expressing it. You'll have more clarity and your presence will actually last for a very long time. Uh, I met someone a few years ago and hadn't seen them in person up until last week, and they remember exactly what I was wearing. I was like, okay. They're actually really studying me, but they were actually impressed by how I showed up. And it wasn't me being arrogant or anything like that. I've done the work, y'all. I've done a lot of reflection. I continue to do reflection all the time. I continually evolve with the brand that I'm actually using and leveraging to get to different places and different opportunities. But the one thing that I heard a lot was to stay local. Okay, stay local. So, what does this mean? Well, many of us are visionaries. We want to be change makers, trailblazers. We have, a lot of ideas. We see things and we just want to go after it, right? And so, where we see ourselves is like on a global level. So, that's what we go for right away. We go for, anything that speaks to worldwide. All right. Well, you know, that's a great way to start is to really think about, hey, that's the future of where I want to go. But in reality, y'all, the likelihood of you going from nobody knows you to being global, it requires some time. Okay. And it requires some momentum. And so when I heard stay local, what I also heard was influence starts at home. So we moved here to Maryland in 2021. I didn't really know too many people. Like I knew some people from being in the military because this is very government military saturated. And for anyone who's on a furlough right now, like I am praying for you all. We're affected as well. So it's not lost on me that some people are looking at this like, oh my gosh, when is this ever going to really end? But here's the thing. I knew a few people, but I didn't know quite as many people as I do now. And the one piece of advice was really to stay local. And again, I heard influence starts at home. And so when we're talking about building authority, there's this misconception that we need to just automatically go to global, all right, to be seen as successful. Because we see it all the time, right? We see people on the news, maybe in our circle, who all of a sudden, like they are on top of their game. They're going here, there, and everywhere. But realizing, there were chapters. And so I saw this again, comparative to a military career where I served for the 30 years. Nobody saw chapter 1 through 29 the way that I saw chapter 1 through 29. But everybody saw chapter 30. Okay. And at chapter 30, I was standing on a stage and I was like, oh my goodness, how did I get here? Right. They took some time for me to get to that point. And so, learning that in entrepreneurship or business from where I'm at right now, and building the authority to get to the next level to where I want to go, I have to build it locally. That's how it expands globally. So, visibility doesn't mean that you need to be here, there, and everywhere, but you really need to think about where you should be and is it in alignment? Okay, because we could be going all over the place. So what I decided to do was stay in my backyard. Okay, stay in the backyard. And the backyard for me is DC, Maryland, and Virginia. All right, because it's in a 30-mile radius. I can go from where I'm at to any one of those places and I can get there in less than 30 minutes. Now, aside from traffic, because the traffic out here is absolutely ridiculous. Okay. It can get so out of whack. I'm just like, you don't even know. You can't even guess what's going to happen, right? However, I knew that if I could stay local and make the connections and grow my network here locally, that people would start to say, hey, I know someone who could help you with personal branding to get you seen, all right, to get you, give you more sense of confidence, to build your network so you can get more opportunities. So, I said, okay. So I started attending all the local events. I still do. Okay. I partner with local organizations where I am speaking for their communities. I probably average about 2 to 3 speaking opportunities a month just from staying local. I have been featured in several different publications from staying local, because when you have people who are in these particular industries, it's so important for them to know you and see you, and they'll start to support the causes that really matters to you and build a foundation. So staying local is like one of the easiest ways where you can build your authority. I wouldn't even say build your authority, like amplify your authority that you already have in existence. Okay. So familiarity builds trust. So if people see you on a regular basis, showing up at the local, and you put whatever organization or whatever event, you know, and they see you consistently in these spaces, your reputation starts to grow organically. And who doesn't want to grow their network organically? Like, I'm in a time of my life where I'm not chasing a whole bunch of stuff down. I'm just not doing that anymore. I mean, I am 53, and I don't mind sharing how old I am, but I'm not in the season of chasing a lot of things down. Okay. So, what I love about this journey that I'm in right now is that I meet people organically. I, again, I'm on LinkedIn, y'all. So, like LinkedIn is my preferred platform because I get most of my business opportunities from LinkedIn. And I had premium, which is premium LinkedIn. And I had that for a year because they offer it for veterans for free for a year. And in the year, I just really leaned in and I was like, you know what? If I got this free service for a year, I need to take full advantage of it. And once the year expired, I realized that my community is still growing and it's expanding organically. Okay. And so you can do that too. There's a few strategies, of course, that I'm using to do that. But it's actually allowing me to be the go to voice in the niche that I decided to be in, which is personal branding. So, what do I mean when I talk about personal branding? Okay. I mean that there are a few um, ways that you can elevate who you are, what you do, and how you do it. And in these areas, which are your visual appearance, your behaviors, body language, your communication skills, and your digital presence. If you're able to master strategies in these particular areas, there's something about how doors of opportunity, new doors of opportunities and possibilities start opening up. Okay. So when I started to really use personal branding as a way to do that, I have grown significantly, not only my business, but from a personal level. All right. Which I love self development. I don't know if you caught that or not, but I absolutely love to do things to better myself. Okay. There's nothing more greater for me than to say, you know what? I learned something new today. I think that's one of uh the ways that I continue to like do what I do, because I'm like, I learned something new that I didn't know. And now there's like different neural pathways that are being opened up in my brain. And I don't feel like I'm staying stuck. All right. And I definitely don't want to become irrelevant. All right. None of us want to become irrelevant. We're just sitting around and the life is just passing around. The world is constantly changing and we got to keep up. All right. And one of the best ways to do that is to be always learning something. All right. So again, when you start to amplify your authority, you become the go-to voice in your niche, whatever that unique value proposition is that you have. And that's really where authority begins. So I'm in my initial phases of when I'm really like amplifying my authority. And so again, that first insight that I just shared is about staying local. All right. So, yes, we want to be global. Yes, we're trying to go worldwide. Yes, we got big vision and everything else. But again, the way that we're starting to build in our next season, especially if those who are transitioning out of a longer career or something different, or maybe going into entrepreneurship, is we got to focus on our local communities. Okay. Um, so really need to ask yourself, am I owning the local stages that are out here? Okay. And again, I'm here in the DMV and I'm making my way around. Okay. So if anybody's following me, you will see that I go to a lot of networking events. And these are, again, local. I do a lot of speaking, usually local. And I make a lot of friends and contacts. And it's absolutely working as far as getting my name out there. All right. Because you can't be the best kept secret. I say this all the time. All right, we want to be the only viable option. So we've got to put ourselves out there. And too many times I see leaders, consultants, coaches, stay hidden because they're just not sure where to start or where to begin. And when people reach out to me, we get started working right away. I mean, there's no ifs and or some buts. All right. And 99% of the time, people who reach out to me, they are ready. They are ready to brand boldly. Okay. Now, the second thing that I realized again, we're talking about amplifying our authority, is really finding ways to be memorable. What does this mean? Okay. What does this mean? It's good to be seen. All right. And I know a lot of us don't want to ever feel invisible or overlooked. So that's good. But what's even greater is to be remembered. Okay. Because there are so many people in your lane of expertise. When people say, well, I made up, this particular business and I do, and you put whatever that is into the blank, many times there are other people who are doing the same thing that you're doing. They may not call it the same, but when you kind of peel back the onion, you're doing the same thing. All right. So it's not about just being seen, it's how do people remember you? Now, okay. So Leslie's got a comment here. She says, great point. Last year, I decided that local is an integral part of our strategy. Yes, it is. And, you never know what local people like sleep on local stuff. They're like, oh, ain't nothing here for me. There's something bigger out here. I'm going to go like 2 states over or 2 states down, and I'm going to figure it out. Or I'm going to go, international. And, they may go international the one time, but after that, it's like, then what? All right. To continue to go international, you've got to build international contacts. All right. That's why I always appreciated like doing things right here where, again, I'm in practice mode too. All right. I get to practice speaking. I get to practice pitching. I get to, practice, networking, the best practices of networking here, because when you have a more intimate relationship, like working relationships, people will give you information that, even the big players are using. So, like, let's not be sleeping on this local, okay, community or local opportunities, because you never know what you find. So the second one again is we got to find ways to be memorable. All right, just being seen is not going to cut it anymore. All right, just take a look. We can go on to social media and we can get distracted and lost in la la lands. Okay, I've heard of people like say, "Oh, I was just checking in on my Facebook," and then 2 hours later, they don't even know where the 2 hours went because they watching all the reels, they're commenting on all the pages. And then, too far down the road, they're like, I just like wasted 2 hours on social media. Now, when I go on social media, it's productive. Like I am networking, I'm pushing out information, not necessarily on Facebook. Facebook is for more of my family and my friends, but I'm on LinkedIn. I'm in business mode on LinkedIn. Okay. So, we just have to understand that we need to start looking for ways to be remembered. All right. Again, we live in a scroll swipe world. All right. That's what's happening right now. And attention spans are of a gnat. Okay. Somebody said it was of a goldfish. So first impressions are everything. Everything. Okay. Before you start to go live, before go on Zoom, before you go to an in-person networking or you're speaking on a stage, listen, y'all, okay? I would just want you to hear me, all right? I live in people's heads all the time. People coming to me and say, oh my goodness, I remember exactly what you said. I was like, good, okay? First impressions matter, all right? That's why standing out isn't just what you do, it's about what people remembered about you. Now, I have several different things on how people remember me. Number one, I say slay and I leave hashtag slay with a firebomb on all of my LinkedIn posts. Now, again, Facebook is a little bit different, but all of my LinkedIn posts, I'm affectionately called Slay or Slay Queen. All right. Slay, as I told you, is a big message. It's actually, one of the frameworks for which I live by on a daily basis, which goes in a little bit more deeper. And, I could talk about slay in 1,000 different ways. I can cut that thing up. And if someone comes to me and they have a particular audience, I customize and I can share, based on what they're asking for, right? I wear pink. Okay. Anywhere I go, you will see me in the color pink. And if no one remembers my name, okay, my official government name, which is Rochelle Marie Hemingway, at least they remember Slay, Slay Queen, Pink. That's all you need to know. All right. You can plug that into the search engine, and I can guarantee you many things are going to be coming up. But we need to make sure that people remember us. And actually, I have the energy. So, the energy is another thing that I have been complimented on so many times here recently is how do you just show up? You got the energy. It just the whole room shifts, right? That's because I feel good. Okay. I'm not just going to sugarcoat that anymore. I feel good. All right. I work out. I eat right. I drink waters. I go to the doctors regularly, making sure that I'm good. Like I do a lot of things on purpose, intentionally, because I want to do something for a long, extended time. So I'm being very purposeful. So really, we need to ask ourselves, like, really, what is your message and what are you trying to get across? What's your delivery? Do you have an unforgettable story? Okay. Because so here's a secret, y'all. When I go to events like seminars, conferences, places where they're going to have a bunch of people speaking or they're doing workshops or whatnot, there's a lot of things that are running through my head. Like, am I going to remember anything that this person shared? All right. Were they really like present? All right, engage with the audience, really getting to know and get comfortable in the space. Many times, again, because I have been through a lot of briefings, okay, a lot of formation where we have commanders calls. I don't remember many of the conversations that were had. Okay. That's because they didn't leave the impression of, really making a lasting memory for me to recall. So that's what we need to do. And I'm all about sharing stories. All right. I'm an open book. I got a lot going on. Right. But if you aren't able to share your stories, and I'm talking about real human stories, not this makeup stuff. All right. I've heard a lot of makeup. I'm sometimes I go, that's not real. Okay. They made that up. All right. That didn't happen to them because it didn't even sound genuine or even sincere. It was like very robotic. So we got to make sure that we have stories that stick. Okay. We share stories that stick. And people will constantly go back to and go, you know what? I remember when you talked about X, Y, or Z. All right. So if you're really serious about amplifying your authority, you need to have a signature presence. All right, that's where we're at. All right, you need to have something that people are like, oh, like they can point you out of a crowd of a many people. And you have done it in such a way that people can instantaneously associate you with, and you put it in there. Okay. And for me, it's pink, it's energy, it's storytelling, it's, military service, it's slay or slay queen as my, nickname, if you will. So all these things play. It's the sum of these different parts that really make up your brand. So what is your brand saying? Okay. So let's just do a brand check or a brand scan. All right. Because what we're trying to do is really amplify our authority out here and to live a life that we actually desire and that we deserve based on what we have already been through, what we've already done. So the goal isn't to impress everyone, okay? By no stretch of the imagine. I am not trying to impress everybody. It's to impact the right people. All right. And I was sharing here recently about tones of voices, right? So two people can be sharing the same information, like word by word, but it's somewhat of the inflection or the tone of your voice where someone could be speaking to a particular group and the other one could be speaking to another particular group. In other words, know your lane, stay in your lane, all right? And you're going to attract the right people. Again, I don't attract everybody. All right, what I'm doing and how I'm doing, not everybody wants to do this because you put yourself all the way out there. All right. And people are scared of like, who's gonna be like, noticing me when I go to the grocery store? Who's gonna notice me when I'm at the mall? Like I don't want any of that. I have been called out in parking lots, literally with AJ. And AJ's like, I think they're talking to you, mommy. I'm like, what? He says, I think they're calling you. And sure enough, I turn around and somebody's like, calling me down in parking lots. And that's okay. All right. Especially if it's for the right reasons for which you're trying to do. And we're trying to amplify our authority. All right. So again, the first one is stay local. All right. It's like, so stop going here, there, and everywhere. All right. Stay in your backyard. Figure out what you can do to create a name if you're for yourself, if you will, to leverage your influence in with the people that you are in community with. Okay. Then the next one is we're not trying to just be seen. We're trying to be memorable. We're trying to be remembered. All right. That's what the attraction is. Because if you just like, you put yourself out there and you're like, no one's reaching out to me. No one even remember me. I just don't even know what I'm doing. Well, let's try this strategy. I mean, again, it's just a strategy. It's a tool. Okay. It is a tool. It is not the all be all. Like you're going to have some competency. You're going to have to know what you're talking about. All right. And you're going to have to bring your A game. All right. Like all that is given. But this right here is just a tool. Then lastly, okay, we have to have multiple ways for people to learn about us. We need multiple ways for people to learn about us. All right. We have to build an ecosystem. Okay. So here is the um thought of the day. All right. Like I'm going to share with you all like what I thought when I started out. So I declared, hey, I'm going to be a speaker, you know, I'm going to, get my image consultant certification because I love fashion and I love dressing up and all this other stuff, right? And, I just thought, okay, I'm going to build a program and people are just going to start coming. All right. People going to know about me and it's just going to happen like that. Like the military still loves me. So they were asking me to go and speak, after I retired. And I was, wearing pink gowns and still do. And so, I was like, okay, this should be good enough. It's not good enough, y'all. Okay. You got to have a full system going on. So when I talk about like the multiple ways to make sure that people understand their authority, it isn't built on one platform. All right. So this is where I started to do a lot more other things. So I wrote the first book, which is this one here. Okay. I wrote my first book, and this is just a mini autobiography about me. So I thought, I'm going to be selling a whole bunch of books and people are going to come and, and I set up booths all across the DMV, like at BX's, which are like shopping stores on basis. And like I get a few people, like buy the book. I think a lot of people felt sorry for me because I was just sitting there going, oh, right? And I would just get so defeated. I would just be like, oh my gosh, I only sold like 2 books today. Because I just thought that it was just supposed to be the all be all. But people need multiple ways to connect with you. Okay. They need to find ways to connect to your voice, to your message, and to your work. So this is where we got to put in a little bit more extra work. So that's when I realized, okay, first of all, let me start. After I self-published the book, I was like, well, what else can I do? So that's when I started this show, which is Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, I'm just clicking along, right? And I was like, oh man, like what else can I do? Well, okay, let me create a YouTube channel. Okay. Did that. So if y'all haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, it's Slay to Success. Okay. It's not hard to figure out. I didn't give it another name. It's all in brand. Okay. And so, I created that platform. It's like, okay, what else should I be doing? Well, I got challenged when I was at a workshop and I was like, you know what? I could write a guidebook. So because I'm extra, I'm really extra when it comes to certain things. I was like, I'm not going to just create one guidebook. I'm going to create 2 guidebooks. Okay. So I created this one, and all these are on Amazon, y'all. All right. And it's Elevate Your Image. It's all personal brand strategies. Really simple things that I started to do after I, started the business. But then, okay, like this is for anybody, right? But who did I really want to speak to? I wanted to speak to women over 40. Okay. So here is me in a jumpsuit. Okay. And I was like, it's titled Own Your Power, because I do present for women groups and organizations. They call me in to talk about personal branding. And most of the groups are women over 40. So I bring this book. Okay. Because we can't be just a one, dimensional especially if you're an entrepreneur or if you're looking to become, the next level leader, or you're looking to be into a new career, right? Like, we have to be able to do it in a different ways, and we can. And even so, I got like another book. Okay. So because I was all about business. So this one is a best selling actually. And I'm a co-author, and this talks about business behind the business. Real entrepreneurs share real struggles, real success. All right. These are all in the ways to get people to know more about me. So think of it this way. Maybe someone finds you on LinkedIn. Okay. Let's just say that, because again, that's my platform that I love. So, hey, LinkedIn. Okay. And then they're like, hey, I want more. Then they join your email list, which I have an email that goes out every day, y'all. Because I'm like, listen, I love all the people who are like, hey, I want to subscribe, and, give them a little bit more insight to who I am and how I operate. And then maybe someone hears you speak at a conference. Okay. And then they start downloading free guides, or, downloading your videos or your lives I had, or go back and listen to them. And somebody might just listen to a podcast that you were a guest on, or they watch you a clip on YouTube, or this has happened to me several times where people were like, I saw that you were going to be here at this event, so I signed up, so I just wanted to meet you. I was like, okay, you know, whatever works. But we have to be able to create multiple platforms. This is about visibility. All right. So I don't only have this show, I have another show, and it's the Rise and Slay morning show. And it's on Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I specifically talk about branding. Like, all the messages that I have in there, it's just a way for people to start to think about where you're at. Okay. And to help you give the confidence, because I feel like confidence goes down the older we get. I don't know what's happening. It's just like people just forget where they were, or something, or somebody said something to them. And so, I just love to inspire and motivate, and I love to talk. So why not? All right. But people know where to find me. Okay, I've gotten that too. Like, we know when you're going to show up, and if you're not here on Sundays, most times people are asking me, where am I at? That's that accountability piece, right? So, it's the each touch point that you have, it reinforces who you are and really what you stand for. And it's a trust like no factor. All right. People need to know like who you are before they start to do any interaction with you, because people, not everybody is going to interact with you, but the right people will. And the key is consistency. Consistency. All right. Now I've mastered consistency. I can honestly say that I have been more consistent than I have ever been in my whole entire life. Like, I was consistent when I was in the military, but now, like, I know what I want to speak about. I don't have a lot of stress and overwhelm about creating, um, because I understand what I'm doing. And it's all about the clarity, right? I have the same message, okay? And it's in different ways. So you're going to hear from different angles. You're going to hear it, flipped up and down all around. It's the same energy, the same tone, if you will, across every platform that I have. Every platform. And again, I have Facebook, I have Instagram, I have YouTube, I have these platforms, but I focus on one because that's how my brain works. Now, everybody's wired differently. All right. Some people can do multiples here, there, and everywhere. But for me to stay consistent and see the results, I need to focus on one thing at a time. So that's how we move from being seen to being sought after. Okay. Where a lot of people want to be sought after. People want to be able to get speaking opportunities. People want to be able to go and present workshops or facilitate. People want to get invited to special events. Well, you need to like think about on a scale of 0 to 10, okay, with 10 being the best way that you can amplify your authority. Where exactly are you at? And what do you need to work on? All right. So this the way that I think, all right, or the way that I am moving out, it's really about another doorway, okay? It's like another opening, all right, to the authority for which I'm building a strong authority in personal branding. All right. There's a whole big thing, there's a lot of moving parts. But it's not about shouting louder or, like raising your voice or laughing hysterically or, doing any hard gestures or anything like that. It's about showing up smarter. And again, I'm trying to be smarter and more effective in this next season because I'm not trying to work so hard. Okay. And so we talked tonight, y'all, on the show. All right. So hopefully this has been some great information for you. We had talked about how staying local, okay, can amplify your authority. Also talked about being memorable, not just being seen, and creating multiple ways for people to learn more about you. That's what you can start to work on. And this is how we move from being one of many, which there's a lot of fish in the sea out here, to being the one that they remember. And amplifying your authority, again, I went over at the beginning that authority really means that you have mastered, if you will, the niche that you are in, and where people are coming and asking questions or asking for directions and they're asking for results. All right. These are things that they come to you about. So your story, your presence, your message, these all are powerful. These are all powerful tools that we can use to our advantage. We don't have to wait again for permission to amplify our authority. I know I'm not, and I have not. All right. I continue to do things a little bit differently. I move differently from a lot of people. But really, what you need to do, or what you can start to do, is just really start where you are and with what you have. Okay. But until next time, okay, I just want you to keep showing up. Just keep showing up. And if you need more support and need more help, I certainly can provide that for you. Okay. I've got several people in the queue right now that we're working on their brand because, nowadays, guess what? We're living in a life of uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Sometimes we don't even know what's going to happen in the next minute. All right. A lot of us are in crisis mode. There's a lot of chaos. People are struggling. And the one thing that I do know, or have learned over the time, I didn't pursue a 9 to 5 job, if you will, because I already had what I needed to do something different. And so, if I can do it, anybody else can do it, and it has been proven that my clients are taking off. And y'all, if you're not following the trailblazers, just go on LinkedIn. Okay, I've already named them out, called them out. They are doing the absolute, I'm just like, y'all got it. All right. So keep leading with purpose. All right, keep moving forward. And for those that come back for the replay, just put in hashtag replay. All right, so that I know that you were here. Leslie, thank you so much for being here live with me tonight. I really, really appreciate you. Oh, Chevy just came into the building. Good evening, Queen. How you doing? We just finished up the conversation. So I talked about amplifying your authority and the 3 insights to that is to stay local, which means stay in your local community and look for opportunities instead of trying to go global or go worldwide right away, especially as you're building. The second one was, be memorable, not just to be seen out here, okay? Because if you just want to be seen out here, it's only going to get you so far because there's so many fish in the sea out here, okay? And you want people to remember you. And again, we create ways to do that for ourselves. And for me, it's personal branding. Personal branding is a tool, okay? It helps people to really think about, like, oh my goodness, I remember so and so and what they were talking about and all the things. And then the last thing was, we got to have multiple ways for people to learn about us. No longer can we just write book, okay, or get on a podcast, right? We have to have different avenues for people to look us up. So, when they Google you, they can see a lot of things that are happening, right? They can see that you got a blog, you got a newsletter, you got a website, you got books, you've got products, you've got, podcasts, you got a YouTube, you got, your social media channels or, active, and particularly one if you're starting out, really focusing on the one, like all these different things that we can do to really amplify the authority. And that means to be the go-to, and that's all that is. So Leslie said, great tips. Yes, Queen. I love that you were here. And Chevy, thank you so much for being here live with us tonight. And for anybody else that comes and watches this later, just put in hashtag replay. And I will see you all on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Rise and Slay morning show. So keep on slaying until you can't slay no more. Love y'all. Be safe. Stay up, okay? Stay up with all the things that are going on, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye.